Welcome to Twitch University, where we learn about the best way to navigate Twitch as a viewer and a streamer. We interview a variety of streamers, moderators, and creators to learn about best practices, hear wisdom, and listen to the story about each person's Twitch journey. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show.
What's good, everyone? Welcome in Twitch University 2023, January 2nd. Mic check one. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me real quick, and then I'll get DJ Daz, who's right there to my right, to say hello as well. Yes, exactly, Daz. Introduce yourself. Let's make sure they can hear both of us.
Good evening, everyone, and glad to be here with you guys today on the return of Twitch University.
Yes, indeed. Okay, we're good here. Daz, what the goal is, and you all see the little ticker up on the right-hand side, a new little addition there that'll tell us what we're kind of the agenda for today. Right now is open office hours. In a minute, we'll get T Summers on screen. So if you have any questions in the chat about Twitch, live streaming, anything we can answer for you right off the bat, let us know. We had some questions that were sent in advance, which we'll get to also. For right now, though, any questions from the chat? And then, Daz, I think you have some really good advice you wanted to share in terms of recording your stream and looking at it later. You want to kind of share your thoughts on that? Because I really liked what you said.
Now, one of the things that I do is I know we've learned to not record the VODs for our copyright strikes and things of that nature. So at the end of the stream, we don't have to remember to go back and take a stream off if something's got muted. But every once in a while, take some time to watch back your streams, just to see, are there glitches? Is the sound good? Is the video smooth? If you have those little like emote explosions and all the alerts and everything that happen on your stream, when somebody subscribes or cheers or whatever and a bunch of emotes pop on the screen, is it slowing your stream down? Is it that eats a lot of processing power from your streaming computer, more so than the bandwidth from your streaming service, but actually your computer is what kind of chokes you when that goes on. So it's watch back. Is it clean? Is it smooth? Like I that's one of the things I kind of work with. Like I have emote explosions, but I don't have them fill up the whole screen. It'll be 50 or 60 emotes will pop up on the screen, but that way I'm guaranteed I'm not going to have any audio glitches or visual glitches. It's not going to start stuttering like they're watching my streams with strobe light.
Yeah.
But I'll go back and I'll watch my streams. I'll make sure that there are no bitrate dips or sections of my stream where it drops out or whatever the case may be. It's just going back. It's a little self-review, even if it's nothing I ever make public, but it's something that I go back and I watch myself to make sure that it's not a hot mess. And I would recommend for anybody to do that. Familiarize yourself with how you look and how your stream is represented to the people out there in the world.
I love it. Have you discovered anything yet or found any big issues that you were able to fix?
Yeah, yes, actually, and it was and it was thanks to my mods and actual people in chat walking me through something real time. It was after a OBS update, I had to change the way some of my streams or some of my scene transitions worked in that nature. And there was a certain transition where there would be like a 3 seconds where all of the audio would just drop out. And it would, and it was during a scene transition. And it took us about 10 minutes as the scenes were transitioning through for me to see what was going on. But yeah, it's something we actually worked through real time on my stream to figure out why when I changed something, were they losing my volume altogether for 3 seconds, every 2 minutes or so.
And but, yeah. Well, what was the fix? Because I have that issue with some of my movies play, and Missy Christie always shares with me that that's an issue. What was the fix?
Now, for me, the fix with that is when I went into all of the audio properties for that particular scene, which was a transition scene, and in that transition scene, I had to make sure that the level on that whatever specific graphic it was still turned on, and my regular audio, for me, it's my rear input jack 1.
Right.
It happened to be muted on that one, or not muted, but it hadn't been added to that stream. But with the number of, 5 or 6 different, volume sliders that show on your OBS, it's easy to miss that you forgot to add one, especially if you built it from a fresh scene and didn't like do a duplicate stream where all that stuff kind of gets duplicated. But you build a fresh scene, you might not remember to add that one little first audio bar, which is what happened to me. Is I forgot to add that one little first audio input bar, so when it would switch scenes, the audio would drop out just
Interesting.
from my DJ equipment.
Yeah, I have to check that because as Misty Chrissy says, it causes my the music I'm playing to lower, so we got to check that. So I need to really kind of dig into that. So this is good. This is good. Now there's another question that came up really quickly. Sweet Tooth, who's in the chat, says, "What tool do you use for scene transitions?" What's your answer there, Daz?
I have a plugin that is called Advanced Scene Switcher. Um, and it's available. You'd have to, search the OBS plugins. It's not something that's part of OBS. OBS has one, but it is not as robust as the plugin that you can get called Advanced Scene Switcher. And it uses the scene transitions from OBS. Now
Right.
OBS has the Luma wipes and the cloud
Yeah.
transitions and all of that, and it uses those transitions. But mine is set; it's programmed so on this event it switches to this scene with this transition, and it automatically uses whichever transition and how long I want the transition to take. Like it can be a real quick zoop. That's the next screen, or I can set it to like 5 seconds. It'll take 10 seconds for something to fade out and fade in, depending on what things I have set it to do in the stream. But it's advanced scene switcher is what I use to handle all my transitions.
Advanced scene switcher. Interesting. Let's look here. We're looking for it here. Um, hmm. So we'll have to find a link for that
Let me
real
let me see if I can
quick.
find it.
Advanced scene switcher, OBS. Because I just use the regular scene switchers, but maybe this will help make it better. I don't know. Because I use scenes, and then I use, have you ever heard of Leorn board, which is now called, I think it's
Yep,
called Sammy
it's
now.
Sammy now. Now it's Sammy.
So that's what I use to make it automatic. But I wonder if this would help it.
Let's see, advanced scene switcher. Yeah, 1.192 was that one. And since this is one of the ones that was broken with the OBS update, I had to actually go find their Discord forum,
Right.
and from their Discord forum, then find the newest build because the original author is no longer working on it. Uh, it can be a pain in the butt to update some of these plugins.
Yeah.
Since OBS is open source, there's no real, it's
Right.
not like a Google or a Microsoft where everything gets sourced down the line to make sure one thing doesn't break the next. Now
Right.
these they changed all of the back end hooks, so it broke just about everything at first.
Okay. All right. So there, I put the link in the chat there, I think. Yeah. So that'll get you there. Awesome. Good questions. Let's see here. Thank you, Alex, for putting that there. T can let us know when you're ready. You come on camera. I'll get you in here, T. So we can talk to T Summers. There she is. After T is with us, then we will go to Sweet Tooth. And you can see up there, the ticker will tell you what's coming. We'll also open up Guest Star for any people who want to ask live questions. We're going to test out Guest Star because it was a little wonky the last time we tried it, but we'll see about this time how it is to do that also. All right.
I had some ideas about that as well, but
Oh,
that's for something.
Yeah.
Now
Tell
that
it.
was when we were doing it before. I was listening. You had the backstage audio muted from your stream there, and I was listening through the channel itself. There's a way to either stream that audio to the backstage feed, and then I could have muted your channel, and then we could have had that real time, and I wouldn't have got that funny echo on my end.
Oh, okay. Um, okay. So Misty Chrissy, let's answer this question. I'll get your thoughts here. I like using both. That's my philosophy, but let's put this up here and see here. Should the shout out command take place of !SO? Can anyone shout out? So you know how we can do like Misty Chrissy, you can give us an example in the chat. If you say you shout out T Summers using the new Twitch command, that's how it looks now. And it gives you a link where you can follow people real quickly by just clicking the little button.
I
What are
know
your
only mods can do that because I can't do it in your channel. So
Okay, so only mods can do that in the streamer. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
is that for me or
That's to
T
you
Summers?
guys. Yeah, that's to
Oh,
you.
I like them both. The Twitch integrated one is really cool. Um, because puts the link up there, lets it stay up there. All people have to do is click on the heart. The heart pops up. They're familiar with, how do I follow somebody? Hit that heart.
Mhm.
Um, the shout out command that you use, that you build out through your chat bots and things, that requires them, to hit the link and then hit the heart. This is a, kind of a one stop shop for just the follow.
Just to follow. So, what's up, BOD? Good to see you. Welcome in. So it sounds like this makes it easier, but with in terms of mods, BOD says only mods can do it, and it has to be on a computer. So if you're modding for mobile, I don't think you can do more than one at a time. I think you have to do them one at a time. That's a good question. I think I've only seen you be able to do it one at a time, and I've seen it
Hmm.
on a bunch of streams. So we'll see that. So I guess it's up to the decision of the streamer. What do you
Yes.
think? So I think we can use it more on my stream. We can figure that out. That's a good one to use.
I could how I kind of use it. I'm a small streamer, but how I kind of use is my mods. They'll use the regular shout out commands. The exclamation point, SO, or the shout, or the whatever it is, and then I'll go on the backside. And if it's somebody, I say, okay, I really, this is really my folks. I want them to hit that follow
Yeah.
button. I'll go in on my side and I'll pop it up at the top of the screen. I'll leave that up to me. And like
Okay.
if one of my good friends come in, even if whether they're a streamer or not, I'm gonna give them, this is a dad shout out. This is somebody that'll call me up on the phone and say, "Hey, how you doing? Look, check out for me." Those are my real people that I'm gonna give that shout out to.
Okay.
That's
Good.
kind
Good.
of like a VIP shout out, I guess you could
There
say.
you go. Okay, I like that. Yeah, VIP. Okay, that's good. We'll have to figure it out. So this is good. I love this. We're learning and sharing together. Let's see here. Let's get T Summers with us and we'll bring her in. So let's go here. We're trying all our scene transitions. We were just talking about it here. So T Summers, hello. Let's first play the clapping noise. Give you a round of applause. Awesome. So welcome.
Hello, hello.
It's you. Welcome. Put a 3 in the chat. Make sure you can hear T Summers. We hear her on our end. I just want to make sure you all hear her because you never know what sounds. So make sure you hear her there. Okay. Good there. So T Summers, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, generally speaking, where you're streaming from, and what do you stream on Twitch?
Yes, so I am T Summers on Twitch and around the entire world. I am a professional and certified travel advisor. And I say it that way because I'm running a business. I talk about the business of travel. I help educate people. And, it's not for fun or a hobby. Like, this is what I really do. And I'm providing real time, valuable information. And I just really enjoy talking about travel. And so that's why I decided to use the Twitch platform to stream and do this. I could have done it on any other platform, but I really love engaging with people. I love interacting. And if anyone has, experienced me being in a stream, I chat a lot. I chat with the mods, I chat with, other followers, and I chat with the hosts. So I enjoy it a lot.
Okay. Now, Daz and I will go back and forth with different questions. The first question I have for you is this is a business. I'm glad you said that. Why do you feel streaming on Twitch can help your business?
Number one, it puts me in a place with people, and I need to meet people in order to build clientele. Whether people are interested in traveling or not, or ready to travel or not, the fact that I can interact with them and share that information with them, it keeps it in the back of their mind. I've had a lot of followers contact me on Whisper, on text, and just say, hey, I'm interested in this. One thing leads to the next. And Sometimes they're ready at the moment, and sometimes they're ready, 3, 6 months from now or a year from now. But it's just building a clientele, putting my name out, uh, refreshing people's memory that yes, I'm still doing traveling. Yes, it's the pandemic. I'm traveling. Yes, the business is growing. Like yes, I'm traveling tomorrow. So people, out of sight, out of mind. People forget. People move on to other things, and so just keeping a constant reminder for when they're ready, or they may be able to share my information with someone else they know.
Okay. So you said a lot of things that I want to ask, but just so we can kind of tie the ribbon on the streaming. Also, Daz, thank you for that sub. 27 months. That's 2 years and 3 months. It's a long time. Thank you very much for the support. Appreciate you. Tell the viewers, myself and Daz, what was the time period from when you decided you wanted to stream to when you hit the go live button the very first time?
Oh, it was a while, and you know that.
That's
It
why
was
I'm asking.
months. Yeah, maybe, to be fair, I'm gonna say 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
And a lot of things happened in between that time. I was very interested. You encouraged me to do some research, to learn, to kind of organize, figure out how and what. And then in the midst of that, things got crazy with work and schedule changes. And, life was getting back to normal and I wasn't as available. So I couldn't dedicate any time. So what I did was figure out what I needed to do with my life to make room for all the things that I want to do.
Mhm.
So that meant getting another position that allowed me more free time, right? So that I can build this travel business, so that I can dedicate time to doing these other things. That took months and I didn't expect that, but it's what I had to do. In addition, I overstressed myself being nervous about streaming. I mean, like, I can kill myself with overthinking, right? Like, I'm so worried. What do I do? I'm nervous. I don't know. All the things that everyone would think of is just overwhelming me. And so the fear of streaming and the thought of that put a lot of hesitation as well. And then one day I just said, I'm just going to go for it. But the motivation for that, honestly, was spiritual thought leader. I listen to her most mornings, and she's always talking about take up space and, show them who you are. And you have something to share with the world that someone needs to hear. And just listening to her say that over and over, I was like, damn it, I just got to go for it. And then I did. I called you. I was like, hey, I did my first stream.
Yes, yes. Congrats.
Yeah.
Now you're affiliate. I'll turn over to
Yes.
Daz. Daz, any questions for T?
Uh, Actually, yes, I do have one. Um, Now that you've been doing the streaming on Twitch, have you thought about expanding or putting, like, say, the streams that you've done on Twitch and putting them up on, say, a YouTube or something else to build that YouTube channel? There's a ton more people that search YouTube for content, and YouTube content are usually the first searches that pop up if they're just looking, through Google, and they want to see something, have a question to say about travel or anything of that nature. YouTube would be a great place. Have you thought about adding your content to those places?
Yes, I have. I think I just need to know the technical aspects of how to do that. But I have recorded every stream except for the first one, which was a crazy, insane. I got so overwhelmed and excited with everyone who showed up for me that I forgot to record it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I definitely want to move that content over, and I am able to do that because I have all of the streams saved.
Now you spoke about your business. How were you able to survive working in travel during the last 2.5, almost 3 years of being in the pandemic, and now we're coming out of the pandemic?
So I started my business in the spring of 2019, and I have tried lots of different opportunities and ideas. So I know well enough that I need a job, right? I have bills to pay, I have a family to contribute to. My husband, he's amazing. He does it all, but, I have to work. So I do work. And so I started the business in 2019. There was a lot of training, a lot of learning, and I started to build some momentum, get my name out there, got a few clients, and then COVID.
Mhm.
So it went completely silent. What I did in 2020, I did a few things. I traveled a lot. I did 7 trips. I did a road trip across country.
Wow.
I visited some relatives in the Carolinas, which was my first flight. That was September of 2020. And the road trip was May and June. So that was early pandemic.
Okay.
And we drove from East Coast to West Coast and back. And then in December 2020, I went to my number one destination, which was the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador.
Okay.
And then I did a few other trips. I did some cruises. Through the industry, I was able to take advantage of some like special select invitation only cruises. The other thing I did was I did a lot of training, I did a lot of webinars, and that's when I also took the time to become certified. So,
Got it.
not all travel agents or travel advisors, most of them are not certified. It's not a requirement like if you were a real estate agent, you have to get, a certification, you need a license. This is not required in our industry, but for me, I thought it would show my dedication, show that, I'm serious about this and that I am a professional and I take the time to learn and educate myself to pass that on to my clients.
Got it. How were you able to stay safe driving across country from like East Coast to West Coast and back, and then on your first flights, especially went to the Galapagos Islands in December?
So during the road trip, we did a rental car. I made sure that if there were any mechanical issues that I could go to get service, and the uh, the car rental place would take care of that, because I've never had a car for an extended period of time.
Right. Yeah.
So that was the first thing I did. The second thing I did was ensure that my route kept me visible to people, right? I didn't take back roads or small roads or, off the beaten path places because number one, it was a shutdown. Number two, I don't want to be in random places and have an incident, right? We're talking the height of COVID. We're talking politicizing masks. We're talking George Floyd, all of that was going on during our road trip. And so I just wanted to make sure we were on near the highway and we didn't have any, type of problems. But fortunately, we didn't encounter anything bad. I made sure we had our own supplies in terms of paper towels and, all the paper products, Lysol, bleach. We carried all of that stuff with us because I didn't know what to expect in these other states and cities.
Mhm.
Most of the public areas were closed wherever we went. So it was more of a stop and go. We would stay in a hotel and go. We went to Chicago, we went to Denver, we went to Vegas. Vegas was totally blacked out.
Yeah.
And the hotels you could stay on were off strip. So everything on strip was closed.
Yeah.
And then we went to LA.
Hmm.
And when we arrived, it was right around Memorial. So the Santa Monica Pier was closed, but the beach was open. The beach had just opened. And, we had tons of masks, we had gloves, we had sanitize, we had everything. So we were personally safe. We kept our distance, but we really didn't encounter too many people to really worry about it. In terms of the first flight, we had the mask that was required. I had the visor shield. We had everything,
Yeah.
and that was an interesting time to travel. So just crazy.
Very crazy. Nady, thank you very much for the follow. You have a lot of numbers after that, but I'll just say, Nady, thank you very much for the follow. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Welcome to Twitch University. Now, as we go to today, and it's still traveling. I mean, I was just traveling last week. Traveling is still pretty tricky. What are like some of your, maybe give us 3 or 4 travel tips for 2023 that as we begin to continue to get out and go places, we can use to make traveling easier and less stressful?
Yeah, so we've all seen this, implosion of the holiday travel, and especially with Southwest, right? I do advise people to not travel during the holidays because it's just crazy. I mean, you had thousands of people sleeping in airports and trying to figure out other ways to get to their destination because of all the cancellations and delays. It's just a tricky time because there's like 95% rate of booked flights. So that means almost every seat is taken. Number
Yes.
two, you have weather issues, right? It is, rainstorms and snowstorms, and there's also the freezing issue. All of that can play into delays and cancellations. So it's just a really tough time to travel. So I would say flexibility is required, patience. I think the other thing I'm looking at, I just booked a group to go to Greece for this summer, and flights are, I'm not going to say they're expensive, but it's hard to find those deals that we were used to pre-pandemic.
Got it.
It's very, I mean, it's very tough. I'm not seeing any type of deals at all.
Okay. Just so people in the chat, and if you're in the chat, you have questions for T, definitely put them there. Like, do you prefer to work with groups that are traveling, or like, say, if I'm going to, say I'm planning a trip, I'm going to Miami, looking for the best airfare and hotel. Are you able to help individuals? What's your ideal client?
So my ideal client is a person who enjoys traveling regularly. So regularly would be a few times a year, whatever that is. And they don't have the time or desire to book things themselves, right? Because anybody can go online and book a flight, book a hotel, book a trip, book an Airbnb. That's what I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people who they don't want to do that. They don't have time to do that. And they're more than happy to give that task to someone else to do. That is my ideal client, whether that is an individual or it's a group or it's, a family. So I have some of all of those clients. This Greece trip is a group, it's a small girls' trip for a birthday. I did a family trip to Italy last year, and I host my own group trips. And I'm actually working on a group trip for a friend who's planning a Christmas cruise for her family and friends.
Okay. Here's a question, good question here from Sweet Tooth. What is your recommendation for traveling to Cuba? I heard Delta flies there now.
Yeah, that is correct. I'm pretty sure on one of my Friday night streams, I talked about that Delta going to Cuba. It's starting to open up. The couple of things to know about Cuba is you have to have your paperwork in order. You sort of need permission to go if you're not visiting relatives. You can only stay on I would say American branded hotels.
Oh,
You can't stay if it's a Cuban hotel that is considered government owned, and American citizens are not allowed to stay there. The other thing you need to do is bring cash because your none of your credit cards will work there. It's just the
mm,
way that it's set up. So you have to have cash and go with, from what I've learned, go with twice as much as you need.
okay.
Because you don't want to run out of money and then someone's got a Western Union money to you, to
Yeah.
Cuba. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. I'll answer this one question from the chat, and then I'll let Daz ask a question too. Songbird. Hello, Songbird, by the way. Good to see you. How long did your cross-country road trip take?
So officially it was 10 days, which I know it doesn't seem like a lot. My son and I had this grand plan. We were going to do a month and we were going to hit almost every state. Well, the realities of the politics at the time, right? What was going on? The weather was a little crazy. And I just wanted to make sure we were safe. So
Right.
that cut back the amount of places we visited and the states that we crossed. So we were able to get from the East Coast, we're in Pennsylvania, we were able to get from here to LA in 4 days. Then we stayed in LA, I think 2 or 3 days, maybe three, because I have a brother in law there. So we visited him and my nephew. And
Okay.
then we came back from I-10. We stopped in Texas, we stopped in El Paso, 2 days in Houston. When we got to Houston, they were having the huge George Floyd,
Right.
protest. And then we drove right into all of that madness in Atlanta. And I was like, it's time to go home. So it was
Okay.
officially 10 days.
All right. Great. Great. Amazing. Daz, over to you.
But I guess I should turn my microphone back on. Do you have a link tree? I haven't seen it pop up in chat yet. A link tree for all of your different platforms that you may have stuff on for folks like me that now maybe want to reach out and say, okay, let's see all of the stuff she does. What's everything that she offers? Do we have a menu for what T Summers could do for me?
Yes.
I no, the answer is no. And I understand I should have one, so I will create one this week.
All right. We'll do that. The best way for people to reach you, and then maybe I'll ask you the best way for people to reach you. What's that answer to that question? And then ask you the final question.
Okay, so the best way for people to reach me, if they're comfortable with Twitch, a whisper is fine.
Mhm.
If not, I am comfortable giving out my phone number. It's all over the internet. If it's everywhere. I have a website. So I am comfortable with however the person wants to communicate. I have people that only email. I have people that prefer to call, and I have people that they love texting, you know? So I am flexible in that way, and that really comes from my day job. It's like however the person wants to communicate with you is the way that I accept.
I have a follow up question, kind of, and this is for Amani as well. Like for your request nights, that you do you have like a phone number or whatever that people can either text into, or can they call into that as well? I figure something that's like an anonymous thing, that so your phone isn't always going off on your hip, that you can check at your convenience. It's not actually your personal number, like Amani may use for his request service. That way, you can always either log into it or whatever the case may be. I know Jazzy Jeff has something like that where you can text, Jazzy Jeff's thing, and they'll get back to you when they get back to you. But
Yeah.
something
There's
like that.
there's apps like Community that are good. I used to use. You can use Burner Phone app that'll get you a phone number and a texting. So there's some services at different price ranges that can assist you. So, or you can use Google Voice. You can get a Google Voice number.
Yeah, yeah. I actually have a Google Voice number that I used to use quite a bit over the years. I just haven't used it in a while. But yeah,
All
I'm
right.
I'm pretty sure I could revive that.
Okay. Okay. Final question be advice for people who are looking at kind of what you did and the time, your journey in terms of streaming on Twitch, but they're still scared and maybe a little apprehensive like you were. What advice would you share with them?
It's the same advice that I've heard other people say, but we sort of ignore it, right? Just do it. You can only learn something as you begin to start it, right? Like, I don't know half of the things on this OBS, and you've helped me set up scenes and do. I don't know. One day I started the stream, I had no audio. I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Hubby was over here helping me, because he's, a super tech geek. And then just like something in my head said, look at the screen. And I realized there was something weird and that the information wasn't reading my microphone. I don't know how I figured that out, but I looked at it and I was like, this doesn't look right. And
Mhm.
I just tapped it in the drop down and it adjusted, but that took me like 15 minutes. I didn't know
Okay.
what to do. But it's
Yeah.
okay, it's okay to be nervous. I'm on my stream sometimes. I'm nervous when I'm talking. And I could be talking, to two people or 10 people, or it could be just hubby in the stream.
Yeah.
But the more I stream, it's definitely building my confidence. It's definitely encouraging me to do that. I've always been a behind the scenes person. I do operations and administration, and I really excel in that. But I do have to interact with a lot of people. I guess it's just the camera thing. I don't know.
Mm.
But it's
Okay.
okay. Just do it. Just do it.
Let's do it. What's your streaming schedule? What days do you stream and what times?
Yes, so I do have a schedule.
All right.
My
Ah,
schedule is Sundays, Tuesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, I am traveling tomorrow, so I will not be streaming this Tuesday, but you can catch me on Friday.
there we go. All right. Thank you very much, T. I'm proud of you as one of my students. Just keep going. I'm just what I'm most
Yes.
proud of is just that you just started. You were thinking about it for a while. We were going over equipment. You said I'm just going to do it. So now look at you, off and running, affiliate status, and you got a good niche here because I don't see very many travel like streamers. So just keep doing it. We'll send people your way. Um, and thank you very much for a great interview.
Thank you so much. I just want to say that I am really grateful for you and so many other streamers who, shout me out and send people and encourage and have taken their personal time to show me little tips and encourage me on the phone. It's just been really an amazing experience, and to see people take their time to help me out. I'm very grateful.
You're welcome. We'll give you a round of applause there. Thank you very much. All
Thank you.
right. We will see you soon.
Yes.
All right, now we're back here with Daz and myself. We're going to get DJ Sweet Tooth up into the virtual green room and onto screen in a moment. But definitely thank you again, T. Summers. Great interview there. So Daz also had a point where you made a point where you wanted us to watch other streams besides DJ streams to see what's really getting views. And you also said even some of the more simple, just chatting streams may appear to be simple, but they're brilliant technically. Can you expand upon that and share with us what you meant by that?
Yeah, I I managed to get myself into a bunch of, I guess, content creator streams where people, they play their YouTube playlists or whatever, and they're basically just hanging around, talking, chit chatting, or dancing or whatever. But all the tiny little details about their stream, I steal some of this stuff. Like people steal from me, I steal from others. It's roll around robin. Um, Little ways like they'll have particular zooms that happen on their cameras that look like they just happen kind of nonchalantly, but when you take a if every now and then they'll give you a background peek of what they have going on. It's like they have a whole production suite happening there, and these little things that they'll do with maybe a little hand switch here, a hand switch there. They'll switch to this camera, zoom in here, zoom back. But if you're just sitting back watching, it doesn't look like too much is going on. But their sound is always on point. Their video is always on point. The lighting, fantastic. And why am I even watching it? Because it looks good and it's fun, and it's um, sometimes just even more than the music that they're playing or what. Just watching that environment from the nerd in me is like, they got so much cool stuff going on here that looks so simple. Looks like they're not doing anything. It looks like they're just being silly and dumb, but no, they're a little evil little mastermind behind the scenes manipulating every little thing. And uh, uh, there also tends to be a little drama filled in some of these streams from time to time
Right.
because they get competitive with one another,
Mhm.
especially with some of the some of the female streamers that they do the hot tub thing and the other
Yeah.
stuff, and
Mhm.
and but yeah, and some of them have crews that follow them around with little cameras and stuff that it's it looks like they're just being silly, but they have what 6 million followers on Twitch. I
Yeah.
mean, what um, little evil geniuses these people are.
So they got so we know we should be paying attention to other streams
Hmm.
besides just DJ streams is the conclusion. So you can learn a lot because also they've been on this platform much longer than us, so they
Yeah,
understand some of the tricks and they've been through the journey before we did.
yeah. More than it's not. Don't pay attention so much to their content that they may be creating, but to how they're delivering that to you.
Yeah.
How is that being delivered to you? Why are there never any glitches in their stream? Why is it always smooth as butter? And ask them questions offline, and they'll answer you as well too most of the times.
All right, we're gonna get some lessons learned then. Okay, great tip. I thought it was a great point. So we'll make sure our homework until we have the next Twitch you is to watch
Explore
some other
Twitch.
streams that are not DJs and see what we can learn from them and bring back some learning so we can discuss them. So I love it. All right, so next we're gonna get DJ Sweet Tooth here with us. So Sweet Tooth, welcome in. We'll give you a round of applause. Welcome DJ Sweet Tooth to the stream. Yes, 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 yes.
Hello, Amani. Hey, Daz. How you doing?
We're doing well. Great to have you
And good
here.
evening, Sweet Tooth.
Yes, yes.
I've already learned a lot. This is great.
Oh, really? What have you learned so
Yeah.
far?
Well, Daz is dropping some gems here, and I wanted to
Yes.
pick your brain as well because I've seen your behind the scenes camera, and I was like, wow, look at this. This is so cool because we all have our little broadcast studio,
Mhm.
in our house here in my dining room, and it's just like how does everybody do their stuff? And I feel like Daz, you definitely have it way more dialed in than I do. So thank you for
Yeah.
enlightening me on that. And T, thank you for the tip on Cuba.
Yes, 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 yeah. That's a good place to visit. It's on my list too. For people who are
I
just
never
meeting
would
you
have thought about.
yeah, the money part, yeah.
Yes.
For people who are just meeting you, Sweet Tooth, tell them like who is DJ Sweet Tooth?
Well, my name's Carrie. I go by DJ Sweet Tooth. I'm in San Francisco, California, and I'm a DJ of, I think this will be year number 25 for me. And let's see, tend to play a lot of jazz and soul and funk and boogie and disco and house, and a wide spectrum of different genres here on Twitch. I've been doing it for coming up on 3 years in April, I think.
Yeah, 3 years. Okay. You're home to two raids, Analog Days, a Vinyl World Cup. What was your inspiration for creating those raids, and what have you learned from managing that whole kind of aspect? And in the audience, if you want to ask Sweet Tooth a question, just put exclamation point Q and your question, and we'll get it on screen and ask them. So that's our first question for you.
Yeah, Analog Days was actually the idea of Funky Bakery out of Germany. He used to do it on his radio station years ago, and so he asked a few of us online to help him out with a 3 day nonstop all vinyl DJs event. And so myself, Shotgun Shima, Baby Funk out of Japan, Chris Wheatley out of the UK, and Bill BH out of Brazil. We all kind of took sections to curate and sign on DJs for that event. So that just happened just after Christmas for about 3.5 full days, which was great. Got to meet a bunch of new DJs that I'd never heard of. But then the Vinyl World Cup, the idea for that kind of came right around, I guess it was like December of 2020. And, everybody was still kind of getting their bearings on Twitch. And I was like, oh, this is fun. But what we had a vinyl block party, and that
Mhm.
was put together by Rosie Buns and Carla Bradley. And I thought, well, what if we did something like that globally
Mhm.
and did it every month? And so that was just the idea of like having vinyl DJs uh, play once a month. And it's great because I get to ask all, all my friends and people I look up to see if they want to play. And Daz, I wanted to ask you on the stream here. I'd love to have you on the Vinyl World Cup at some point as well.
Uh, I would be glad to.
There you go.
Talk to my manager.
All
That's me.
right,
That's me.
send me your rider, and it's low paying, but it's fun.
Yes.
All right.
Cool. Okay. So that's that. What have you learned? Because so raid trains and you do it monthly. Some people have weekly
Correct.
ones, but monthly is a good kind of cadence. What have you learned about, I guess, DJs, organization, kind of events through planning and having this go on for over, a year, almost 2 years, right?
Yeah, 2 years this month. So I'll have
Yeah.
the 2-year anniversary of the Vinyl World Cup in January 20th. So what have I learned? Keep a good spreadsheet and keep track of your time zones. Uh,
Oh,
any daylight savings changes on our side or other countries. Bookmark that Greenwich time zone time converter
yes.
because that's you want to double check that because sometimes Brazil might be delayed by a couple of weeks, or I know the UK is about 3 or 4 weeks off from us. So that's one thing. Um, I guess also trying to, Misty Christie mentions it here in the chat. Is like highlighting, up and coming DJs that are fantastic but might not have the viewership,
Hmm.
and not just like booking the same big names over and over. Um, so kind of using it as a springboard to get eyes on other people that you admire or think should have more followers or more eyes.
Okay.
um
Yeah.
yeah.
Keep going. Keep going.
What else was I going to say? There's oh, and then your lineup. I tend to have the Vinyl World Cup be about 6 or 7 DJs, um, and I don't like to go more than that because number one, I can't really pay attention for that long, given a day job or family.
Right.
So uh, and I think the steam kind of runs out after a while. So, yeah, it does tend to run during the daytime for the West Coast,
Hmm.
but I think if it was like 10 or 12 DJs, it would just be like I want to be present or mostly present for the DJs that I book, and not just like, hey, cool, I booked you, but now I'm gone. Um, so I think it's like better to have it little tighter on the lineup rather than it be like a 10 or 12 DJs or more.
Got it. Keep putting questions in chat. We have one from Misty Christie here. Thank you very much, MC. She says here, what is your secret for community building here on Twitch? And also, I wanted to say, is it BK Big Wiz 45? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to Twitch U. Let us know where you're tuning in from. What's your secret for community building?
Well, I I've been a big fan of Twitch ever since I kind of got on and started watching all these DJs. So, and I'm still, it's still taken over basically my radio. So I don't get to watch as many shows and I don't listen to the radio. I just kind of watch and listen to Twitch a lot. But I'm also pretty active in people's chat. So when I go over to someone's channel, I usually say hello if I hang out for a few minutes and, say hi to the mods. Um, Even if it's just pleasantries, but, if somebody's playing music that I like, I'm going to let them know. And, so just being active, an
Mhm.
active member of Twitch is a great way to build community, without, I guess I lurk sometimes, but, if somebody's doing something nice, I want to let them know. If somebody's been a consistent viewer on my channel, and then I see their name pop up, and they're streaming, I'm going to go check them out. And I'm like, oh, cool, they've got 3 people. Let me go say hi and let me encourage them and give them some time.
Okay. Yeah, a great strategy. Daz, over to you. I know you got a couple of questions here for Mr. Sweet Tooth. What do you got to say, Daz?
No, I just thought of another question that said, okay, this one popped in front of my mind. I'm going to ask it. With Twitch, we have a tendency as DJs, okay, follow for follow. It's, that everybody asks for it. But then doing that, you get to a point where, and it happened to me recently, okay, I'm going to go follow this person. And Twitch says, no, you can't follow any more people. How do
Oh,
you,
really?
yes, how do you decide? Who are you going to follow? And if you do have to take someone off of your follow list, um, do you go in and say, okay, I've never seen this person live, or I visited their chat, I just wasn't enjoying it? How do you decide who and who not to keep on your follow list of people that you keep an eye out for mostly?
Yeah, good question. I occasionally do remove people or unfollow them. You know, Usually it's a channel that I see in my list, but I just never go to. And if I've gone to their channel a handful of times and maybe the music hasn't really worked for me, then usually I'll like let it sit, and maybe a year later I'm like, you know what, this person's still in my list and I haven't been there. And I'll give them one more chance, one more chance. And it's not really so much their channel, but it's maybe just my time and focus is on other people, because I know that your follow live channels can get like really big.
Hmm.
I'll have to prune it back a little bit. And so I think maybe if they've been sitting there and I haven't gone there for months and months, I might trim them back.
Okay. Yeah. Now, talk to us and share maybe the story of like your Twitch partner journey, and just how you were able to persevere and get through it and actually achieve partner status.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to get partner a few months ago,
Yes.
um,
Congratulations.
with the help of Bod 1275. Thank you, Bod, for always being there. He's a mod on my channel and an
Okay.
amazing one. So thank you. So I applied. Let's see. Well, I guess it was last year, a little over a year ago. My numbers were getting a little better. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I've got like 50 average or something, or, you know, 59 or something. And then Shotgun Shima, I was talking to Todd and he was like, you should apply for partnership. You can get it. And I was like, that's fine. I'm good. I don't need it. But he kind of put something in my head. He planted a seed and he was like, I'm going to raid you on Sundays and we're going to get your, your numbers up and you're going to get partnership. I was like, okay, well, I wasn't really trying. And then after a few weeks of that, uh, thank you, Alex, I was kind of like, yeah, maybe I can. And as my numbers got a little closer to reaching 75 average, which is the hard part, I was a little more strategic about, my streaming times or the duration of my streams. Um, and I ended up applying in April or end of March in 2022. They did not respond for about 4.5 months.
Oof.
And I
Oh my
was
gosh.
like, what's going on? Like, so I sent a help ticket, I was like, what's
Mhm.
going on? And they're like, sorry, we don't, you have to talk to the partnership people,
Mm.
which you can't really get a hold of. And then they finally wrote me back and they said, you know, we can't give you partnership because you don't have any VODs up. And I said, oh, well, I took them down because I was getting all these copyright notices.
Right.
And I said, okay, I put the VODs back up. A month or so later, I reapplied. Um, and then they waited about another month and a half and wrote back and said, you don't get partnership again because your numbers are lower. I'd actually been traveling and I think there was I think I had traveling in midsummer and I hadn't streamed. And so they said, we're not going to give it to you because you hadn't streamed 12 times in the month. I said, okay. So then finally I reapplied about a month later, 3 weeks later. And I had a bunch of big streams during that period. And they wrote back within 3 days and they said, you got it. And,
Nice.
luckily I'm grateful and thankful that, I just got lucky by being on some bigger raid trains, like 45 guys, shout out Jay Finesse, and Soul Train, DJ Volatile, and Sam
Hmm.
Tweaks hooked me up with that. So that was, a big help. A lot of eyes came in there. And so being on those raid trains really helped my numbers a lot. And yeah, I just kind of got lucky. But it was a 8 or 9 month process.
Yeah, yeah. So mine was an 8 or 9 month process too, similar, I wanted to, because you mentioned this, and this was another question that came up through our early Q&A when we were asking people for questions. Um, but like where is this question here? It's about raids. And let me look here, Daz. It's like, how do you get on raids? Because a lot of them, the bigger ones, and you mentioned a couple like Soul Train, J Finesse with 45 guys, like it's hard to get into. What advice would you have for people who are trying to maybe follow on your path? And nowadays you kind of almost have to be on a raid train to really get partner status because you need that extra boost, that consistency on a specific day of the month. What's your advice for people who are trying to kind of get into some maybe more well-known raid trains?
Uh, be present during that raid train. Um, be humble. I guess it's no harm in asking through a whisper.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe not in the chat. Like, hey, I want to be on this. Can I get on? But um, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I got lucky. And I've told Jay Finesse, many times. I'm like, hey, if you want to sub me out, there's plenty of other people. He's like, no, you're in. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Well, it's yeah. Hmm.
I was gonna say, you know, maybe, I mean, if you already have like your own event going, yeah, build community. Absolutely. Misty Christie's got it there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Delta Honey. Good to see you. Cece, what's good? Welcome in. I see DJ Snoopy is here. Okay, so we got a couple of questions from the audience. Then I'll get Daz for another question here. Mr. Christie wants to know, where did your name come from? Is your day job in music or dentistry? Laugh out loud.
My DJ name came for years and years. Decades, I was DJ Carrie B. And one of my best friends, he started calling me DJ Sweet Tooth because I like, cookies. I have a sweet tooth. And it was a joke. He was like, hey, DJ Sweet Tooth. And uh, and then I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just start using that name, and it just kind of stuck. So I didn't give it to myself. It was given to me. I work in video for my day job, So I'm
Ah,
not, I'm not music all the time, but yeah.
okay. And then the follow-up question would be, and then I'll go to Daz. How do you balance your day job with Twitch, streaming, networking, building community? Like it's a lot of work there. How do you balance all three? Plus, you have a family. Like, how do you do it?
Twitch suffers usually in the I try to keep, I stream on a regular schedule, but it's typically once a week on a Sunday, so it's on a weekend. But yeah, I mean, and then I do the Vinyl World Cup, once a month, and then multiple raid trains, monthly. Um, it's tricky. I tend to stream also during the day because
Mhm.
I stream from the dining room here.
Okay.
So it's not, uh, and I'm in an apartment, so it's not great if I'm playing loud music for my neighbors or for the family in the house.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's tricky. I mean, during the week, I'm mostly a viewer, so I'm just kind of hanging out and chatting,
Right.
listening.
Yeah. Okay. Um, that's good. The balance is tough there. Daz, over to you. What's your question?
Uh, uh, Now, since making partner, have you eased off of the how many times a month you stream and that sort of thing, or do you still try and keep up that the 12 days, 25 hours, or have you kind of dialed it back a little bit?
Yeah, I've dialed it back to kind of being less focused on that. Just really trying to make it more fun. Because
Mm,
for a while there it was like, all right, I got to
yes.
do this, and I'd be streaming and I'm like, okay, check the numbers, like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
we're good. And then now I'm like, I don't care about the numbers. It was a relief,
Totally
to kind of,
unrelated follow up.
yeah,
I
go
see
ahead.
you've got a rotary mixer there. You prefer rotary
Yeah.
over the regular the uh, disco crossfaders and stuff. You much prefer the rotary, the smoother
Um,
transitions, or what is it?
I kind of miss the crossfader. I had a Rain 56 for a long time. And then in 2020, I made the jump. I was like, well, I'm gonna go for it. And I went with one of this Condesa, which was an arm and a leg. I'm not gonna say how much, but it was an investment, and I've gotten used to it. There are times when I do miss having a crossfader, but I was never really much of a scratch DJ. Um, so yeah, this works for me. And
Okay.
as a house DJ, you would love it.
I think that's why he asked. We have another
Mm.
question from the chat here. DJ Ron Love, thanks again for being here. He says or asks, is it me or does it seem like the majority of people in DJ streams are other DJs? How do we get more regular people? Or is that Twitch's job? So I'll first ask you, Sweet Tooth, then I'll ask Daz to respond.
How do you get more? Yeah, that's a tough one. I've definitely tried to get non-DJ friends. Uh, Speak of the devil, in comes Revolutions London, another excellent DJ streamer here. Hey, Rob.
Welcome in, Revolutions. Welcome.
How do you? Yeah, I've tried to get my friends to come on, my real life friends. Like, hey, I'm coming in. I'm gonna play on this time. You should check it out. And they're like, oh yeah, whatever. How do you get them to? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it goes back to watching, non-DJ streamer channels and building community that way.
Yeah. Okay. It's a common question. It's like it's forever an area of opportunity for us to continue to try to grow that. Daz, what do you say?
That is, uh, that's a great question. I would say on a regular day, maybe half of my stream is other DJs or other people that are spinning or other content creators. Um, pulling every now and then you'll get a stream where you pull in a bunch of folks that are just just music lovers. People are slowly learning that if you really like music and don't like what's just on the radio over and over again, come to Twitch. You'll find some people on Twitch that have amazing musical taste and musical knowledge, and they will come and they will find uh, streamers like like a Sweet Tooth or a Sam Tweaks or somebody like that that plays some good soul or some funk, or Armani if they want to listen to some go-go, or Mariah Carey.
There we
Um,
go.
but finding music lovers is tough because it's not your average crowd. Your average crowd wants to, there are, they'll take what the media feeds them, and I don't serve that. That's a great question.
Yeah.
And I would dovetail off that and say, I've had a number of friends come on and try and watch it, and they're like, I can't get over the talking, the talking over the songs. And you're like, well, that's part of, it's part of the interaction element, and that balance. As a streamer myself, uh, I try and temper the talking. You know, sometimes it's more chatty. Maybe not talk over a vocal track if you don't have to, or just kind of let the music do the talking. But there is an element to it where I think sometimes, and there are some streamers that want to do just music and no mic. Um, but I think that might be holding some people back from growing their stream, because I think that it does help connect with
Yeah.
the viewers if you're like, what's up, Delta Honey? How you doing?
Exactly. Yeah.
They're like, oh, cool. And I remember when I was a viewer back in 2020, and you know, I got a shout out from Shortcut, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
agree. I think we
that's
have to
how it was on
spend
my
more.
first. Sorry, Armani. That's how it
No,
was
keep
my
on
first
going.
Jazzy Jeff shout out. My
Yeah.
first Jazzy Jeff. I saved it. I went back and I downloaded his VOD and saved my
Yeah.
Jazzy Jeff shout out.
There you go. That's a drop right there. I think, we have to continue to network both in like other musician DJ streams, but kind of spread the net and get outside to some other streamers too, because they're people and pretty much everyone loves music. So I think that's kind of the next step as you're trying to grow, is like we have our communities here, but we need to expand the net to network other streams, whether it's sports streams, maybe music, people playing the piano or singing, talk shows, things like that. I think that will help, and just kind of continue to draw on people slowly. It's a slow. It's like a marathon. It's not a sprint, but yeah, that's my answer to that question. Now, another question that comes up is for Sweet Tooth. How did you come up with the concept of soul bingo?
Oh, Soul Bingo, which is my Sunday stream. I do once a week. You know, it was the name came from a bar gig that I had going, a bar gig that I did once a month for a number of years. And I basically played for like 5 hours, and it would go from, you know, smooth soul or dub reggae to some jazz to, some funk, and, maybe some more up tempo stuff at the end of the evening. So it was really sort of just a way for me to play all the types of music I liked, without, a real theme, or being, stuck to one genre.
Hmm.
It was like, okay, well, and I did that for, I don't know, 5, 6 years at a couple of different bars here in San Francisco. And I kind of just moved it over to Twitch. I was like, okay, well, I want to do a stream. Let me just call it Soul Bingo. And I do tend to play a lot of soul music of, different, different, uh, variations.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a great way for me to just kind of branch out and kind of play whatever I want.
Yeah, yeah, amazing concept. I love it. So keep it going, and that kind of leads into the next question. Then I'll go back to Daz. Like, what's next for you on Twitch? What's coming in 2023? Where you want to see yourself?
Well, I would love to continue to grow the channel, and get connect with more people here on Twitch. Where do I see myself? Maybe there might be a move in the future for us, so there might be a new tooth
Oh,
booth, as we call it
the tooth
here.
booth. I love
Yeah,
it.
so there might be a new tooth booth. Um, yeah, I mean, I would love to see, you know, just kind of like smaller streamers get better recognition and just
Yeah.
connect with those people. Um, just kind of keep doing what I'm doing, which is wonderful. I'm just so grateful that I have this opportunity to do this and connect with so many people. I'm a bit of an introvert in real life, so having this platform gives me the opportunity to, you know, create a vibe and do my thing and talk to people without it being a club atmosphere or a bar atmosphere, with requests coming in and everybody in the chat has the same volume of voice.
Yeah.
So, it works for me, and I don't think it's going to change too much.
Yeah, no, I agree. Daz, over to you. Any kind of, as we kind of tie up the interview, any maybe final questions for Sweet Tooth?
Um, uh, just curiosity. Do you find that listeners from different parts of the world react to different types of soul music or different things a different way? Like, from London may want a certain type of sound that they really dig when you get to the East Coast when it's their lunch hour or whatever the case may be, versus West Coast. Have you noticed any differences in people's taste around the globe?
Um, Not really. I think it's interesting to some time of day is very interesting because you think like, oh well, it's the morning for me. I'm DJing at 10 a.m. and I'm going to keep it kind of mellow, and then might play something that's more up tempo and people are like, this is great, keep on rocking. And you're like, wait, where? Oh yeah, it's 9 p.m. for you on a Friday. You're ready to go. And so I think you can play like anything at any time of the day and people will respond.
Yeah, remember that Twitch is a global platform. It's not U.S. centric, all around the
Like that.
globe.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I remind myself from time to time. I'll look at my chat. I know that there are certain viewers that I have that are tuned in from whether it's the Philippines or Taiwan, and I'll go to say something and I'll remember, oh no, it's good morning over there, or good
Yeah,
afternoon, good evening. Not everybody is sitting here at the same time I am.
yeah.
Yeah. Good point. One final question from the chat here. Misty Chrissy, do you have a stylist or are you naturally Dapper Dan?
Oh, no, I can't afford a stylist.
There you have it.
No, no.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it's funny because I do, I occasionally, I wear t-shirts and, you know, blue jeans like everybody else. But I started sort of putting on a tie for Twitch. Yeah, little one walking through there. Um, Putting on a tie and maybe a blazer for Twitch, but um, I kind of have to do it now because it's part of my brand, I guess.
yes, yes. Yeah, the branding there. Yeah. Um, Final question is I love to ask this question. I kind of ask it in two parts, but like any advice for people who are looking at the platform, want to stream but are a little bit scared or apprehensive? And then the follow-up to that would be if you go back to maybe when you started streaming in March of 2020 and give yourself advice based on what you know now about streaming, what would that be?
Well, T said it best. Yeah, I would say, yeah, just go for it. Um, Even if it was like, hey, I've got an idea for a stream on Lego building or woodworking, or if it's not music based, like, well, I'm going to do a sewing stream. There's people are interested in all kinds of stuff, and like the things that I want to do, painting, or an art stream, that would be probably pretty well received. uh,
Yeah.
and I think Dad said it great earlier, that if it looks good and sounds good, it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
um, Advice for myself, um, yeah, I'd say be persistent, because I know for a long time my viewership was like, you know 8, 12, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I got up to, like, I remember I had 25 viewers at one point after 6 months or 8 months of streaming, and I was like, wow, this is a lot. um, so yeah, stick with it, and don't be afraid to say hi to people. What's up, Cruise One? I see you.
What's good, Cruise One?
Ben
Good to see
Select,
you.
my dude.
Yeah. Great advice. Be persistent and don't be afraid to say hi to people. All right. When is your next stream? Is it Sunday, or are you on a rate train during this week?
Nothing this week. I got to go back to work after a little holiday break. But yeah, I'll be back on Sunday for Soul Bingo at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And then on January 20th is the Vinyl World Cup 2-year anniversary. And then at the end of the month is Soul Train and 45 Guys. And I'm sure we'll find another way to get on for some pop-ups or
Yeah.
wherever I can squeeze it in.
Exactly. Funky Feline. Hello. Welcome in. Well, just thank you for what you do for the community, both with the raid trains that you do in terms of, Vinyl World Cup, your assistance with the analog days, and just for continuing to be yourself while you're streaming and just kind of sticking with it. So I, admire your persistence. I admire the journey you had to get partner, because I know it's not easy. So thank you for what you do for us here in the community, and just keep going, because we love to support you.
Oh, thank you, Amani. You're the best. We love you. You're a pillar of this community, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure. We're going to get you on some more game shows. If you're into trivia, let me know. We got a new trivia show premiering in a couple weeks. So let me know
Okay.
that. We'll get you back on
Yeah.
the game shows. Just a round of applause and ones in the chat for Sweet Tooth. Make sure you follow him. And now you can get back to the family, the kid tooth, as they say in the chat, that was walking past there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Daz.
Thank you, Sweet Tooth.
All right. 2 great interviews today. Daz, as we tie up some loose ends, is there anything you wanted to mention, or questions we didn't answer, maybe some tech tips, anything else we didn't cover?
I'm just thinking, let's see. OBS, what went over that?
Yeah.
People that I had a question that came to me.
Mhm.
What do you do if you've accidentally subscribed to somebody, or how do you unsubscribe? See, I know the answer, but how would the best way to unsubscribe? And can you only do that on a desktop, or can you do that from mobile at all?
I don't know if you can do it on mobile. It's easy to do it from the desktop, because you just go to your subscriptions and you can unsubscribe
Mhm.
right there. You can actually go to the channel and manage subs and do that there. Let's see if we can add that to the parking lot for next time. Can you unsubscribe? And maybe Holly or someone in the chat might know this too. Unsubscribe via mobile. That'll be a question that we'll add for next time to follow up.
And our chatter's aware that if they hold on to their subversaries until a hype train happens, that those subs that are already paid for still count towards the
Yes.
streamer's hype train.
Great tip there. So if you see you get the so what I guess the best way, I know Misty Christie does it, Holly does it too. I know Songbird. So what's the best way? If you see a hype train happening, do you just refresh and then go back, or how do you what's the best way?
If I see the when on PC, I always watch on PC. You can actually pin that alert. There's a little button on there that says pin this, and it'll stick it there. And then once a hype train starts, like you go ahead and hit okay, now do the alert now, and it'll do the alert count towards the hype train and all that. You can actually pin that to the bottom of your chat window on PC and hold on to it so it doesn't go away. In the 30 seconds or whatever that it initially stays
Right.
on screen as an alert.
Oh, that's a good tip there. I didn't know about pinning, so you can pin that.
Yep.
If you have any, go ahead, Daz.
No, that was it. I think that was it. And and I don't want to encourage people to do this, but within like if you sub to somebody within 10 minutes, you can unsub from them and you won't be charged for that sub. It was a thing came up, people were complaining that people sub just to get a shout out on the channel and then go back and unsub. But that
Yes.
it is available to the users. Um, if for whatever reason, no, I really didn't mean to sub to that channel, which I
Right.
don't know, but it's available. It's available,
Yeah,
but
it's
you have to
available.
be, and
We
it
don't.
can, but it can hurt the streamer because they can get depending on there can be a chargeback. Especially on I think especially with the subs is like
Mhm,
somebody will come in and drop 50 subs on somebody and then wait
mhm.
till the payout and then uh, go to their credit card company and say this was a wrong charge, or go to Twitch, this was a wrong charge. Then the next payout for that streamer may be in the negative because that money comes back out of the streamer's pocket after it's already been sent to them.
Yeah, so we don't want to promote that, but you do that. And I know
But make sure the
MC had a
streamers are aware of it. That if
yes.
so if you're a DJ and somebody comes in and they drop 60, 70 subs, and you got a level 34 hype train or whatever it is now, be aware that if that's not somebody that or you're familiar with, just make sure you're not getting trolled. Go ahead and even if you get that payout, set that money aside until it's been past the 90 days or whatever.
Oh, yeah, great tips here. So we will see about refunds for accidental purchases. MC got to do some research, but I like this. I like some homework, so that's good. Thank you, Songbird, for sharing. Um, I mean, keep going, Daz. Any other tips?
I think that's all I got for that. That's all I had written down.
Okay, we'll give you a couple more weeks to kind of see what you got here. I wanted to share. Let me look here. We're good. So this is the Monday schedule. We had to move game night to Monday. I'm only able to stream 3 days a week because I'm trying to stay sane. So today's Twitch University. Next week will be game night. We're gonna do Music Maven. We've got Chubby Chubb is gonna be a contestant. Soma Green. We've got It's Fab Forte. We got one more contestant from Music Maven coming. Then the 16th, we'll have This Week in Music first, and then game night after. So that'll be a little longer stream. I'm traveling on the 23rd. Then we'll have another game night the 30th. So that's kind of the stream for Mondays. And then my schedule for the winter is Mondays, Fridays, and Sundays. This is best for me. So 8 o'clock today, Mondays, 8 o'clock on Fridays. We'll mix it up a little bit. We'll do slow jam sometime. Sometime we'll do open format, and Sunday nights is Shellings and Chill. So that's kind of my schedule there. What is your schedule, DJ Daz?
My next stream is Tuesday at 7 p.m. Uh, it's my wind down stream. It's life below 120 beats per minute. So kind of everything, down tempo. I play everything from down tempo, just lounge beats, the funk, the jazz, the R&B, just everything that's lives below that house line, life below 120. And then my next raid train that I'm on is actually this Thursday. So my mods that may be here in the channel listening to me, I haven't updated my schedule yet. I just found out about it yesterday. Thursday, 5 p.m. remix, edits, blends. Oh my.
Oh
I know
my,
DJ
yes.
LV on
LV, all right.
Thursday at 5 p.m.
Dope. Thank you, Songbird. Shout out to Miss Fran Boogie for doing the flyers. Shout out to Songbird, Alex, Misty Christie, Cece, Holly, my mod squad. Also, we have London Michelle. Thank you all. And in the spirit of going to a variety streamer, we're going to go to my friend Bridget Case. She's doing sports, watching Monday Night Football and the bowl game. So we're going to raid into her. She raids me a bunch on Sundays. So we're going to send you over there. So stay for like 5 or 10 minutes. Please continue to, you're welcome, Cruise One. Appreciate it. We're going to figure out, right now we have Twitch U on Mondays, once a month. We'll see kind of what the reception is. We might add it back twice a month at the most, and we'll see about doing that. But for sure, it's always the first Monday of the month, schedule pending. And then we'll see about maybe adding a day or it along with the game stream there. But let me know what you think. If you have questions, send me a note. If you have ideas for potential guests, also send me that too. We're trying to cover a good mixture of bigger streamers and smaller streamers. So we want a good variety of streamers there. Yeah, and that's it. So any last words, Daz, while I set up the raid?
No, I've got no last words other than be safe, wash your hands, take care of each other.
Yes, and thank you, Daz, for being my co-host. I love having a co-host.
Thank you, Omani.
Yeah, bring the knowledge and help me out there. So we're going to go to Bridget Case over. She's local here. She's down in the Orange County area. So yeah, good stream today. Thank you all very much. I will see you all on Friday. There is the raid message there. We will keep this coming back. Thank you all for encouraging us to bring back Twitch U, and we'll keep kind of sharing the knowledge and all that. T Summers, you're welcome. Thank you very much for being a guest. Thank you to Sweet Tooth for being our guest. Join the raid. And we will be back on Friday. And I don't think I have a raid train this week. Thank you, Holly. But I think coming up, there'll be a Slow Jam one that's coming up soon, I believe. So I'll keep an eye out for that one late January. And yeah, Soul Bingo's there too. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, you all. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. Thank you for attending. And let's go over to Bridget.